striving for. We have the most critical services in the inner circle for older adults, their spouses and family members as well. And then on the outer circle, we have the supportive services, which are also essential. We cannot do the work that we do without partners. You can see within the Health and Human Services there are many programs that serve the older adult system of care, but also our community partners. They're not all listed. Every time I look at this list, I think of a number of others. But you can see that we really have a system that involves not just the agency, but also the community as well. Go ahead, Lisa. One of the components is, the essential components is the mental health services through the older adult system of care. And that program was originally formed in 2002 through a grant through the Cal Endowment, thanks to your support. And what we've done is we've been able to sustain that program through some integration through the mental health and social services programs and funding streams, including MHSA and CSBG, some of the social services funding streams as well, in a way that we are maximizing federal participation in the program. So we've been very successful with that. We started with one coordinator and one case manager. We now have expanded the program with our staff, but most importantly is we also have 25 senior peer counselors who've been trained. They're all volunteers. They're throughout Mendocino County and all of our major geographic areas. We in fact have a couple of them here today. And they go through a 12 to 14-week training provided by the older adult staff, system of care staff, and are an incredible asset to our community. Go ahead, Mika. We are serving right now in the mental health services over 100 older adults. And what's really exciting about this and a little bit unusual is that most of those people, most of all the services are in their homes. This is a home-based program. We do try to get people to come into senior centers and some of the other resources to get them out of the home. But most of our services are provided in the home. One of our greatest concerns is the incidence of suicide in the senior population. What we know from national statistics is that one older adult every hour and a half commits suicide. There's one suicide for every 25 attempts. Adults 65 and older account for 16% of the suicides. These are national statistics, by the way, from the Center of Disease Control. And 90% of people who die by suicide have a psychological problem that is usually unrecognized and untreated. This is why it makes it even more important for us to have programs like our mental health program, providing as much outreach as we do. We know in Mendocino County, the Public Health Status Report has identified 13, in 3-year period, 13 suicides, documented suicides. What we know is, for instance, in the last about 6 months, we've had 3 additional suicides come to our attention. None of those would be included in the documentation because the death certificate does not identify suicide as the reason for death. And I'm not going to go into that at length because I know we're under time constraints, but this is a huge issue for us. The point being, we believe that there are many more numbers and that this is a very serious problem. And that the older adult system of care mental health services are not optional, they're essential. What I want to do right now is just take a moment to introduce you to Janet Larson. She is one of our senior peer counselors and has agreed to just talk to us for a few minutes about what she does to give you an idea of some of the work, and then I'll be right back.
Great.
Thank you, Janet.
Good morning.
My name is Janet Larson. I've been a senior peer counselor since 2005. And as a volunteer program, this program is really efficient and effective both for the people that we serve and for the volunteers. Seniors have a wide variety of challenges, and we are fortunate to have the organizations and agencies that provide services. But the challenges for these organizations are really great, and even though the staff that does this work are very well educated and deeply caring, there's just a great growing number of elderly people that need to be tended to. The Senior Peer Counseling Program sends trained volunteers into the homes of frail elderly people who are underserved in terms of the amount of one-on-one time that can be afforded to them due to the tight budgets and the growing population of aging people. The extensive and ongoing training that the volunteers receive provides us with an education for dealing with many of the varied needs of the senior population. We learn about resources, and we study all kinds of things, drug and alcohol and other addictions, all types of abuse such as physical or financial, suicide, Alzheimer's, depression, a host of other topics. Volunteers gather twice each month to discuss our work with professional counselors, and as a group of seniors ourselves, we help each other to deal with our own problems and changes that happen as we grow older. We attend statewide conferences and local trainings that are offered through the older adult system of care. Many seniors must transition out of their homes, give up their driver's license, deal with physical and emotional ailments and traumas, and this is all new for them. Often they feel very alone as they go through these incredibly different and difficult transitions, and service providers tend to be overworked and can't always tend to them completely or compassionately or intimately. The volunteers are able to focus on the emotional needs that are associated with transitions, loss of a spouse, illnesses, loved ones who have addictions or who are just too busy or simply do not have a clue as to what the needs are of their aging parents. The problems of aging in a world that's primarily designed for active young people can be recognized, and we can help provide services to the volunteers can provide services, and we spend time listening, and we observe their lives and their needs. Our training, commitment, and close association with the professionals makes for an efficient way to make life much more bearable for many of the seniors we work with. The volunteers are highly regarded by the people we serve and by the professionals. The opportunity for a troubled elder to have a volunteer spend an hour or more on a regular basis is even more special as they come to realize that we're not being paid. It really sends them the message that somebody really cares. It's a wonderful program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Janet. So let's go to the next slide. I think you're somewhat familiar with our Area Agency on Aging. We did form a joint powers agreement in 2005, a two-county joint powers agreement. Our mission is really to focus on providing leadership and improving the quality of life for seniors and working with the community in doing that. We have 15 contracted service providers. On that initial slide that I showed you, a lot of the services are being provided through funding that we get. It's state and federal funding through the California Department of Aging. And we have, for instance, 108,000 home-delivered meals, 85,000 congregate meals. So nutrition is a huge program within the Area Agency on Aging. We have an advisory council with representatives from both counties. And just about a year ago, we took in the long-term care ombudsman program as a direct service within the Area Agency on Aging. And since that time, we've been able to increase the number of volunteers, as well as monitoring visits in skilled nursing facilities and residential care facilities in both counties. So we're very happy about that, which is a huge issue around protecting frail elderly individuals. One of our priorities in the area plan, as well as our HHSA strategic plan, is really